In a distant corner of the galaxy, far beyond the reach of human telescopes, there existed an alien race known as the Xylothians. These beings were unlike anything humanity could have imagined, tall, slender creatures with shimmering skin that glowed faintly in the dark. Their eyes were large and black, reflecting light like polished obsidian, and their voices carried an eerie resonance when they spoke. The Xylothians prided themselves on their technological superiority. They had mastered interstellar travel, centuries ago, colonizing planets across the cosmos and bending lesser species to their will. To them, conquering worlds was not just a necessity, it was their destiny. But there was one planet they avoided: Earth. For generations, Earth had been nothing more than a curious blip on their cosmic maps. It was a small blue world orbiting an unremarkable star, teeming with life forms that seemed chaotic, unpredictable, and ultimately insignificant. The Xylothians saw no reason to waste resources on such a primitive civilization. Why bother with a species still struggling to understand its own atmosphere when countless other worlds offered richer rewards? So Earth remained untouched, ignored by the mighty Xylothian Empire. However, everything changed one fateful day when strange energy readings began emanating from Earth's skies. At first, the signals were faint, almost imperceptible, but over time they grew stronger. Scientists aboard the Xylothian command ship analyzed the data, puzzled by what they discovered. The energy patterns suggested something unnatural, something artificial. Could it be possible that these primitive humans had stumbled upon advanced technology? Or worse, could another rival empire be secretly aiding them? The Xylothian Council convened to discuss the matter. Opinions were divided. Some argued that Earth should remain off-limits, citing the unpredictability of its inhabitants. Others believed the energy readings warranted investigation. After hours of heated debate, curiosity won out. A fleet of 30 warships was dispatched to Earth under strict orders: assess the situation, gather intelligence, and eliminate any threats if necessary. The mission was clear: to determine whether Earth posed a danger to the Xylothian Empire. As the fleet approached Earth, the crew prepared for their arrival. Captain Valeth, a seasoned warrior with decades of experience leading invasions, commanded the operation. He stood on the bridge of his flagship, gazing at the blue planet through the viewport. Primitive, he muttered to himself, his voice dripping with disdain. These creatures are nothing but animals playing with fire. His confidence was unwavering. Like most Xylothians, he viewed humans as little more than insects scurrying about on their fragile rock. What harm could they possibly pose? The fleet entered Earth's atmosphere under the cover of darkness, cloaked by their state-of-the-art invisibility shields. From high above, the Xylothians scanned the surface below, studying cities, oceans, and deserts. To their surprise, Earth appeared much like any other inhabited world they had encountered before. There were sprawling metropolises filled with towering buildings, vast agricultural fields stretching as far as the eye could see, and dense forests teeming with wildlife. Yet, despite its beauty, Earth seemed chaotic, a patchwork of cultures, languages, and ideologies that clashed constantly. It was a planet divided against itself, weakened by internal strife. Confident in their dominance, the Xylothians deactivated their cloaking devices, revealing their massive warships hovering ominously over major cities. The reaction was immediate. People all over the world looked up in awe and terror, unsure whether this was the beginning of salvation or destruction. Social media exploded with videos and photos of the enormous ships blotting out the sun. Governments scrambled to respond, issuing statements urging calm while secretly mobilizing their militaries. Religious leaders declared the event a sign of divine intervention, while conspiracy theorists claimed it was proof of ancient prophecies coming true. Amid the chaos, attempts were made to communicate with the invaders. Radio signals broadcasted messages of peace, offering greetings and extending hands of friendship. But the Xylothians ignored these efforts. Instead, they studied humanity with clinical detachment, analyzing broadcasts, intercepting communications, and observing behavior. What they saw only reinforced their belief in human inferiority. The species was fragmented, selfish, and consumed by petty squabbles. How could such creatures ever hope to stand against the might of the Xylothian Empire? Hours passed and the tension mounted. Humanity waited anxiously for some form of acknowledgement from the aliens. Were they here to help, to conquer, or simply to observe? Finally, the silence was broken. Not by words of peace, but by a chilling declaration transmitted across every channel. "Attention, inhabitants of Earth," the message began, spoken in perfect English. "We are the Xylothian Empire. Your planet has been deemed suitable for resource extraction. Surrender your assets immediately, or face annihilation." The response was universal shock. The tone of the message was cold, emotionless, and utterly devoid of empathy. It treated humans as nothing more than pests to be exterminated or exploited. This arrogance ignited a fire within the people of Earth. Protests erupted worldwide, demanding resistance against the invaders. Leaders convened emergency meetings, pooling together military forces and brainstorming strategies to counter the threat. Scientists worked around the clock to analyze the Xylothian technology, searching for weaknesses. Despite the overwhelming odds, humanity refused to bow down. Captain Valeth watched the growing unrest with amusement. He had expected fear, perhaps even panic, but defiance? That was unexpected and intriguing. Still, he dismissed it as irrelevant. The Xylothians had faced countless civilizations before, each one convinced of its own strength. None had lasted long. Believing humans incapable of mounting any real defense, Valeth ordered a small-scale attack on a coastal city as a demonstration of power. The devastation was immense, leaving thousands dead and entire neighborhoods reduced to rubble. But, instead of breaking humanity's spirit, the attack only fueled their determination. From the ashes rose a united front, a coalition of nations ready to fight back. Little did the Xylothians know, their arrogance would soon lead them into the jaws of catastrophe. Earth was not just another planet to be conquered. It was home to a species uniquely equipped to survive and thrive in the face of adversity. And the invaders' fatal error? Underestimating the most dangerous species in the universe. Unbeknownst to the Xylothians, humanity harbored secrets far greater than anyone suspected. Deep beneath the surface, hidden away in classified facilities, projects designed to protect Earth lay dormant, waiting for the moment they would be needed most. That moment had arrived. As the Xylothians prepared for their next move, humanity prepared to unleash its greatest weapon yet. The stage was set for a battle that would change the course of history forever. The Xylothian ultimatum echoed across the globe, reverberating through every corner of human society. Surrender your assets or face annihilation. The words were cold, calculated, and devoid of any trace of compassion. For a species accustomed to being treated as insignificant insects in the grand scheme of the universe, this declaration hit like a thunderclap. It was not just the message itself that stunned humanity, it was the tone. The Xylothians spoke with an air of absolute certainty, as if they believed themselves to be gods among mortals. Their arrogance radiated through every syllable, leaving no room for negotiation or compromise. At first, many humans hoped the invaders had misunderstood their intentions. Perhaps the lack of immediate response had been misinterpreted as hostility. Governments around the world scrambled to send clearer messages of peace, broadcasting appeals for dialogue in multiple languages. Religious leaders prayed for divine intervention, while scientists worked tirelessly to decode the alien communication systems. Ordinary people took to social media, posting videos of themselves holding signs that read, "We come in peace," or "Let's talk." But the Xylothians did not respond. Their silence was deafening, a stark reminder of their superiority complex. Hours turned into days, and the tension grew unbearable. Cities buzzed with activity as citizens prepared for the worst. Supermarkets were emptied of supplies, gas stations ran dry, and emergency shelters filled to capacity. Rumors spread like wildfire, Some claimed the aliens were already abducting people, while others insisted they were planning a full-scale invasion. Panic gripped millions, but amidst the chaos, something remarkable began to happen. Humanity started coming together. For decades, Earth had been divided by borders, ideologies, and conflicts. Nations fought over resources, cultures clashed over differences, and individuals prioritized personal gain over collective well-being. Yet faced with an existential threat from beyond the stars, those divisions began to fade. Neighbors helped each other stockpile food and water. Strangers shared information about safe zones and evacuation routes. Even rival nations set aside their disputes, pooling intelligence and resources to prepare for what lay ahead. It was as though the arrival of the Xylothians had awakened a dormant sense of unity within the human race. But unity alone could not stop an alien fleet armed with advanced weaponry. As humanity braced itself, the Xylothians made their next move. Believing the humans too weak and disorganized to pose a real threat, Captain Valeth decided to demonstrate their power. Without warning, one of their warships unleashed a devastating attack on a coastal city, a bustling metropolis known for its vibrant culture and thriving economy. The strike came swiftly and mercilessly, obliterating entire neighborhoods in seconds. Buildings crumbled like sandcastles, streets erupted in flames, and thousands perished in the initial blast. The shockwave rippled outward, shattering windows miles away and sending survivors fleeing in terror. News of the attack spread instantly. Footage of the devastation flooded television screens and social media platforms, showing plumes of smoke rising from the ruins and desperate cries for help echoing through the wreckage. The images were horrifying, yet they served a dual purpose. While they instilled fear in some, they ignited anger in others. Across the planet, protests erupted demanding resistance against the invaders. People marched through the streets carrying banners that read, "No surrender," and "Fight back." Politicians who had initially considered capitulation now found themselves under immense pressure to act. Surrender was no longer an option, not when so many lives had already been lost. In response to the growing outcry, governments convened emergency summits to coordinate a global defense strategy. Military leaders, scientists, and engineers gathered in secure facilities brainstorming ways to counter the Xylothian threat. Satellite imagery revealed that the aliens' ships were powered by energy cores located at the center of each vessel. If these cores could be targeted and destroyed, it might disable the fleet entirely. The challenge, however, was finding a way to penetrate the Xylothians' advanced shielding technology. Humanity's conventional weapons were useless against such defenses, forcing innovators to think outside the box. Meanwhile, ordinary citizens played a crucial role in the resistance effort. Amateur astronomers used telescopes to track the movements of the alien fleet, sharing their findings online. Hackers infiltrated Xylothian communication networks, intercepting data and relaying it to government agencies. Even children contributed by designing makeshift tools and gadgets inspired by science fiction movies. Humanity's creativity and adaptability shone brightly during this dark hour, proving that even the smallest actions could make a difference. As the days passed, the Xylothians grew increasingly frustrated. They had expected immediate submission, not defiance. Captain Valeth watched the unfolding events with mounting irritation. "These primitives are more trouble than they're worth," he muttered to his second-in-command, Commander Xyrax. "Perhaps another demonstration is in order." Xyrax hesitated. "Sir, we must proceed with caution. Their behavior is unpredictable." "Unpredictable?" Valeth scoffed. "They are nothing but animals scurrying about in fear. What harm can they possibly do?" His confidence blinded him to the truth. Humanity was not afraid. On the contrary, the attacks had only strengthened their resolve. Beneath the surface, plans were being put into motion, plans that would soon catch the Xylothians off guard. Deep within a classified facility buried beneath the Nevada desert, a team of scientists led by Dr. Elena Carter worked feverishly to reactivate Project Aegis. Originally conceived as a deterrent against nuclear threats, Aegis was designed to harness untapped energy sources hidden within Earth's core. Over the years, funding for the project had dwindled, and it had been abandoned, until now. With the alien invasion looming, governments poured billions into reviving Aegis, hoping it would provide the edge humanity desperately needed. Dr. Carter, a brilliant astrophysicist with piercing green eyes and a determined demeanor, had dedicated her life to studying extraterrestrial phenomena. She knew better than anyone the potential dangers posed by advanced civilizations. But she also believed in humanity's ability to rise above adversity. As she stood in the control room overseeing the final stages of Aegis's reactivation, she felt a surge of hope. "This isn't just about saving ourselves," she told her team. "It's about proving that we won't go quietly into the night." By the time the Xylothians launched their second attack, targeting a major industrial hub, Project Aegis was nearly operational. The assault caused widespread destruction, crippling factories and refineries essential to Earth's economy. But, instead of despair, humanity responded with defiance. Rescue teams rushed to aid the injured, volunteers worked tirelessly to rebuild, and engineers devised innovative solutions to restore critical infrastructure. Every setback seemed to galvanize the population further, fueling their determination to fight back. And then, the moment everyone had been waiting for arrived. In a dramatic display of Earth's resilience, the first Star Destroyer emerged from its underground hangar. Sleek and silver, the ship gleamed under the harsh desert sun as it ascended into the sky. Its engines roared to life, sending tremors through the ground below. Moments later, dozens more followed, each one equipped with cutting-edge weaponry capable of rivaling the Xylothians' own arsenal. The sight left both humans and aliens speechless. From the bridge of his flagship, Captain Valeth stared in disbelief as the new fleet took formation above Earth's atmosphere. "What is this?" he demanded, his voice tinged with unease for the first time. "Where did these ships come from?" Commander Xerax remained silent, his expression grim. He had warned Valeth not to underestimate the humans. Now, it seemed, his caution had been justified. For the Xylothians, the realization dawned too late. They had made one fatal error. They had provoked the most dangerous species in the universe. And now, humanity was ready to show them exactly why. The emergence of Earth's Star Destroyers marked a turning point in the conflict, not just for humanity but for the entire galaxy. As the sleek silver ships ascended into the sky, their engines roaring with power, they seemed to defy the very laws of physics. Each vessel was a marvel of engineering, its design both elegant and intimidating. The Xylothians, who had always prided themselves on their technological superiority, were left stunned by the sudden appearance of this new fleet. Captain Valeth gripped the railing of his command bridge, his glowing eyes wide with disbelief. "How is this possible?" he whispered, his voice trembling with anger and fear. What made the Star Destroyers truly awe-inspiring, however, was not just their physical presence. It was the way they seemed to awaken something within Earth itself. As the ships rose higher, the atmosphere began to shift. Clouds parted dramatically, revealing constellations etched into the heavens that no one had ever seen before. It was as though the planet itself was responding to the call of its protectors, aligning itself with humanity's resolve. For centuries, Earth had been silent, its secrets buried deep beneath layers of rock and ocean. Now those secrets were being unleashed, and the result was nothing short of miraculous. Dr. Elena Carter stood at the heart of it all, her hands trembling slightly as she monitored the energy readings from Project Aegis. The technology powering the Star Destroyers was unlike anything humanity or any other species had ever encountered. It tapped into the latent energy fields hidden within Earth's core, channels of raw power that pulsed like veins through the planet's crust. These energy fields had existed since the dawn of time, dormant and waiting for the right moment to awaken. That moment had finally come, triggered by humanity's desperate need to survive. The Star Destroyers were not merely machines. They were extensions of Earth itself. Each ship's hull was constructed using materials mined from the planet's deepest layers, infused with the same energy that fueled their engines. This connection gave the vessels an almost sentient quality, allowing them to adapt and evolve in real time. Pilots reported feeling a strange sense of unity with their ships, as if they were not controlling them, but working in harmony with them. The bond between human and machine created a synergy that amplified their effectiveness in battle, making the Star Destroyers far more than just weapons. They were symbols of Earth's untapped potential. As the fleet took formation above the atmosphere, humanity watched in awe. Millions gathered in open spaces, staring up at the sky as the ships hovered majestically, their surfaces reflecting the light of the sun. Social media exploded with images and videos of the event, accompanied by captions like, "We are not alone anymore," and "Earth fights back." Even skeptics who had doubted humanity's ability to resist the Xylothians found themselves moved by the sight. It was impossible to ignore the significance of what was happening. Earth was no longer a helpless victim. It was a force to be reckoned with. Back in the Nevada facility, Dr. Carter addressed her team, her voice steady despite the enormity of the situation. "This isn't just about defeating the Xylothians," she said, her piercing green eyes scanning the room. "It's about proving to ourselves and to the universe that we are capable of greatness. We've spent centuries looking outward, searching for answers in the stars, but maybe the answers were here all along, buried beneath our feet." Her words resonated deeply with everyone present. Humanity had often looked to the cosmos with a mix of wonder and envy, believing that advanced civilizations held all the keys to progress. Yet now, they realized that Earth possessed treasures beyond imagination, waiting to be discovered. The energy fields powering the Star Destroyers were proof that humanity's greatest strength lay not in imitation, but in innovation. By embracing their uniqueness, humans had unlocked a power that even the mighty Xylothians could not comprehend. Meanwhile, aboard the Xylothian flagship, panic began to spread among the crew. Captain Valeth paced furiously across the bridge, his mind racing to make sense of what he was witnessing. The Star Destroyers were unlike anything in the Xylothian arsenal. Their speed, agility, and firepower surpassed even the Empire's most advanced warships. More troubling was the fact that they appeared to draw energy directly from the planet itself, giving them an endless supply of power. No matter how many times the Xylothians analyzed the data, they could find no explanation for this phenomenon. Commander Xyrax approached cautiously, his expression grim. "Sir, we may have underestimated these humans," he admitted reluctantly. "Their technology, it doesn't match anything in our database. It's as if they've harnessed the essence of their world." Valeth spun around, his glowing eyes narrowing dangerously. "Impossible," he snapped. "They're primitives. How could they achieve such a feat?" Xyrax hesitated, then added, "Perhaps it's not about achievement, sir. Perhaps it's about connection. Look at the way their ships interact with the planet. They're not just operating independently, they're part of something larger, something we can't replicate." For the first time in his long career, Valeth felt a flicker of doubt. He had always believed in the inevitability of Xylothian dominance, convinced that their empire was destined to rule the galaxy. But now, faced with this unprecedented challenge, he began to question everything he thought he knew. Could it be that the humans were not as primitive as he had assumed? And if so, what did that mean for the future of the Xylothian Empire? While the invaders grappled with their newfound uncertainty, humanity prepared for the next phase of the conflict. The Star Destroyers conducted test flights, pushing their limits and refining their capabilities. Pilots trained relentlessly, learning to harness the full potential of their ships. Military strategists worked alongside scientists to develop tactics tailored to the unique strengths of the fleet. Every detail was scrutinized, every possibility explored. Humanity understood that the upcoming battle would determine not only their survival, but also the fate of their planet. One of the most remarkable aspects of the Star Destroyers was their ability to communicate with each other instantaneously, regardless of distance. This was made possible by the energy fields they drew from Earth's core, which acted as a kind of universal network. The ships shared information seamlessly, allowing them to coordinate attacks with unparalleled precision. In addition, the energy fields provided a natural shield against enemy fire, absorbing and redirecting incoming projectiles. This combination of speed, coordination, and defense made the Star Destroyers nearly invincible. As preparations continued, Dr. Carter received a message from the United Nations requesting her presence at an emergency summit. World leaders wanted to understand the full scope of Project Aegis and how it could be used to secure Earth's future. When she arrived, she was greeted with applause, a rare moment of recognition for someone who had spent years working behind the scenes. She addressed the assembly, explaining the science behind the Star Destroyers and emphasizing the importance of unity moving forward. "This technology belongs to all of us," she declared, her voice ringing with conviction. "It's not just a weapon. It's a reminder of what we can achieve when we work together. For too long, we've allowed divisions to weaken us. Now, we have a chance to build something greater, not just for ourselves, but for generations to come." Her speech inspired hope, but it also served as a sobering reminder of the stakes. The Zalothians were still out there watching and waiting. They wouldn't retreat without a fight, and humanity needed to be ready. As the summit concluded, plans were finalized for the first major engagement between the Star Destroyers and the alien fleet. It would be a test of strength, strategy, and willpower, a battle that would decide the fate of Earth. When the day of the confrontation arrived, the skies above the planet lit up with anticipation. The Star Destroyers took their positions, their sleek forms gleaming under the sun. Below, millions of people held their breath, praying for victory. High above, the Zalothian fleet braced itself, unsure of what to expect. What followed was a clash of titans, a spectacle that would forever change the course of history. But even as the battle raged on, one truth became undeniable. Humanity had awakened a power that transcended mere technology. They had tapped into the soul of their planet, forging a bond that could never be broken. And in doing so, they had proven that Earth was not just another world. It was home to a species uniquely equipped to face the challenges of the universe. The Zalothians had made their fatal error. They had provoked the most dangerous species in existence, and now they would pay the price. The moment the first Star Destroyer fired its weapon, the universe seemed to hold its breath. A brilliant beam of energy shot out from the sleek silver hull, slicing through the void like a blade cutting silk. The Zalothian fleet, caught off guard by the sudden aggression, scrambled to respond. Their own weapons, once thought invincible, were met with an unexpected resistance. The Star Destroyer's energy shields absorbed the incoming blasts, dispersing them harmlessly into the atmosphere. For the first time in their long history, the Zalothians faced an enemy they couldn't easily overpower. The battle unfolded with breathtaking intensity. Lasers streaked across the sky, painting the heavens with flashes of crimson and gold. Explosions lit up the darkness, sending shockwaves rippling through space. Earth ships moved with a precision that baffled the invaders, darting between larger vessels and targeting weak points with surgical accuracy. Pilots aboard the Star Destroyers communicated seamlessly, their instincts guided not just by training, but by the mysterious connection they shared with their ships. It was as if the vessels themselves were alive, anticipating every move and adapting in real time. Captain Valeth watched the chaos unfold from the bridge of his flagship, his glowing eyes wide with disbelief. "How are they doing this?" he demanded, his voice rising with frustration. "Their movements, they're too coordinated." Commander Zyrak studied the monitors intently, his expression grim. "It's the energy fields, sir," he replied. "They're using them to synchronize their actions. We've never encountered anything like it." Valeth clenched his fists, his confidence crumbling under the weight of reality. For centuries, the Zalothians had relied on brute force and superior technology to dominate other species. But humanity was different. They didn't fight like machines. They fought like artists, blending strategy, creativity, and raw determination into every maneuver. The Star Destroyers weren't just tools, they were extensions of humanity's spirit, fueled by the collective will to survive. On Earth, Millions gathered in open spaces to witness the battle unfold. Screens in cities around the world broadcast live footage of the clash, capturing every explosion and every daring maneuver. People cheered as one of the Star Destroyers executed a perfect loop, narrowly avoiding a barrage of enemy fire before retaliating with a devastating strike. The sight filled hearts with pride and hope, proving that humanity could rise to meet even the greatest challenges. Yet the cost of victory was becoming painfully clear. Despite their newfound strength, the humans were still outnumbered. The Xylothian fleet consisted of dozens of warships, each equipped with advanced weaponry capable of causing catastrophic damage. As the battle raged on, cracks began to show in Earth's defenses. Several Star Destroyers sustained heavy damage, their shields flickering under relentless assault. One ship, piloted by Lieutenant Marcus Kane, took a direct hit to its engine core. Smoke poured from the vessel as alarms blared inside the cockpit. "Kane! Eject!" came the frantic voice of Commander Sarah Huang over the comms. She was leading the squadron from her own Star Destroyer, coordinating attacks while keeping tabs on her team. "I can still fight," Kane replied through gritted teeth, struggling to stabilize his damaged ship. "Just give me a minute." "You don't have a minute," Huang snapped. "That core is destabilizing. Get out of there now." Reluctantly, Kane ejected seconds before his ship exploded in a fiery blaze. The blast sent debris spiraling outward, forcing nearby Star Destroyers to scatter. Though shaken, the remaining pilots regrouped quickly, refusing to let the loss break their momentum. Every sacrifice only strengthened their resolve. Back at Mission Control, Dr. Elena Carter monitored the situation closely, her heart pounding as she analyzed data streaming in from the battlefield. The Star Destroyer's energy reserves were holding steady, thanks to the constant flow of power from Earth's core. However, the prolonged engagement was taking a toll on both the ships and their pilots. Fatigue was setting in, and mistakes were beginning to creep in. If something didn't change soon, the tide could turn against them. "We need to take out their command ship," Carter said firmly, addressing the assembled military leaders. "Without Captain Valeth directing their forces, the Xylothians will lose cohesion. That's our best chance." General Robert Hayes nodded, his weathered face set with determination. "Agreed, but getting close enough to disable it won't be easy. They'll see us coming." Carter leaned forward, her green eyes blazing with conviction. "Then we don't go straight at them. We use their arrogance against them. Let's create a diversion, send a group of ships to attack their flanks while another team sneaks in behind their lines. With the right timing, we can catch them off guard." Hayes considered her plan for a moment, then gave a sharp nod. "Do it, and may God help us all." Within minutes, the strategy was put into motion. 2 squadrons of Star Destroyers broke away from the main formation, launching a series of aggressive assaults on the outer edges of the Xylothian fleet. The aliens responded predictably, diverting resources to counter the threat. Meanwhile, a smaller group led by Commander Huang slipped past the distracted defenders, heading directly for the Xylothian flagship. As they approached, the tension aboard Huang's ship was palpable. Every crew member knew the risks involved. If they failed, the entire operation would collapse. But failure wasn't an option, not when so much was at stake. "Lock onto their energy core," Huang ordered, her voice calm despite the adrenaline coursing through her veins. "We get one shot at this, make it count." Her gunner nodded, fingers flying over the controls as he aligned the targeting system. The flagship loomed ahead, its massive form blocking out the stars. Just as they prepared to fire, warning alarms blared throughout the cockpit. Enemy fighters had spotted them and were closing in fast. "Brace yourselves," Huang shouted, gripping the controls tightly. "We're going in hot." The Star Destroyer accelerated, weaving through a hailstorm of laser fire. Shields flared as they absorbed multiple hits, buying precious seconds for the gunner to complete his task. Finally, with a triumphant shout, he announced, "Target locked. Fire," Huang commanded. A searing beam of energy erupted from the ship's cannons, striking the flagship's exposed core. The impact was immediate and catastrophic. The Xylothian command ship shuddered violently, its systems failing one by one. Secondary explosions tore through the hull. sending chunks of debris tumbling into space. On the bridge, Captain Valeth staggered as alarms screamed around him. His empire, the unstoppable force that had conquered countless worlds, was crumbling before his eyes. "No," he whispered, collapsing into his chair as the lights dimmed. This cannot be happening." Far below on Earth, the news of the flagship's destruction spread like wildfire. Cheers erupted in streets and homes as people celebrated the turning point in the battle. The remaining Xylothian ships, now leaderless and disorganized, began retreating in disarray. Some attempted to flee entirely, while others launched desperate counterattacks in a bid to salvage their honor. But it was too late. Humanity had seized the upper hand, and they weren't about to let go. As dawn broke over the planet, the skies cleared of alien vessels. Exhausted but victorious, the surviving Star Destroyers returned to Earth, greeted by throngs of cheering citizens. The cost of the battle had been high, many lives lost, many ships destroyed, but the outcome was undeniable. Humanity had proven itself capable of standing toe-to-toe with the most advanced civilization in the galaxy. Dr. Carter stood among the crowd, watching as the battered ships descended gently to the ground. Tears welled in her eyes as she realized the magnitude of what they had achieved. Earth was no longer just a blue dot on a cosmic map. It was a beacon of resilience and ingenuity, a testament to the indomitable human spirit. But even as celebrations continued, questions lingered. What would become of the Xylothians? Would they return someday seeking revenge? And more importantly, how would humanity wield the incredible power they had uncovered? For now, though, such thoughts could wait. The day belonged to Earth, to the people who had refused to surrender, who had risen together in the face of annihilation. They had stared into the abyss and found the strength to push back, and in doing so, they had written a new chapter in the story of their species, one defined not by fear but by courage. The battle may have ended, but the legacy of survival was only beginning. The aftermath of the battle left Earth forever changed. The skies, once filled with the ominous glow of alien warships, now shimmered with a sense of calm and renewal. Humanity had emerged victorious, not through sheer numbers or brute force, but through unity, ingenuity, and an unyielding will to survive. Cities that had been scarred by the Xylothian attacks began to rebuild, their streets alive again with the hum of activity. Cranes rose against the horizon as construction crews worked tirelessly to repair shattered buildings and restore neighborhoods to their former glory. It was a testament to humanity's resilience, a reminder that even in the face of devastation, hope could prevail. In the days following the conflict, world leaders convened for a historic summit at the United Nations headquarters in New York City. Never before had so many nations come together with such purpose and solidarity. Representatives from every corner of the globe shared stories of heroism and sacrifice, celebrating the collective effort that had saved their planet. At the center of it all stood Dr. Elena Carter, who had become a symbol of humanity's triumph. Her work on Project Aegis had not only unlocked Earth's hidden potential, but also inspired millions to believe in the power of innovation and collaboration. This victory doesn't belong to one person or one nation, Dr. Carter told the Assembly, her voice steady yet filled with emotion. It belongs to all of us, to every scientist, engineer, soldier, and civilian who refused to give up. We've proven that when we stand united, there's nothing we can't overcome. Her words resonated deeply, earning thunderous applause from the audience. For the first time in history, humanity truly felt like a single species, bound together by shared experiences and aspirations. The divisions that had once plagued the planet, borders, ideologies, and conflicts, seemed insignificant compared to the unity forged during the fight for survival. Governments pledged to continue working together, establishing new alliances and initiatives aimed at protecting Earth and exploring its untapped potential. One of the most significant outcomes of the summit was the creation of the Global Defense Coalition (GDC), a unified military force tasked with safeguarding the planet against future threats. The Star Destroyers, now hailed as symbols of hope and strength, formed the backbone of this new organization. Pilots who had fought valiantly during the battle were recruited to train others, ensuring that humanity would always be prepared to defend itself. Research facilities around the world expanded their efforts to study the energy fields within Earth's core, seeking ways to harness them for peaceful purposes, as well as defense. But while humanity celebrated its hard-won victory, questions lingered about the fate of the Xylothians. Fragments of their fleet had fled into deep space, disappearing beyond the reach of Earth's sensors. Though they were no longer an immediate threat, the possibility of their return loomed large in people's minds. Some feared retaliation, others wondered if the invaders might regroup and launch another assault. To address these concerns, the GDC established monitoring stations across the globe, equipped with advanced technology, designed to detect any signs of extraterrestrial activity. Captain Valeth, meanwhile, faced humiliation upon his return to the Xylothian Empire. His failure to conquer Earth, a supposedly primitive world, was seen as an unforgivable disgrace. The Council stripped him of his command and exiled him to a remote outpost, where he spent his days reflecting on the arrogance that had led to his downfall. Word of Earth's resistance spread quickly throughout the galaxy, serving as both a warning and a lesson to other civilizations. No longer could Earth be dismissed as insignificant. Its name carried weight, a reminder that underestimating humanity came at a great cost. For the people of Earth, however, the focus shifted toward the future. With the secrets of their planet's energy fields unveiled, humanity embarked on a new era of exploration and discovery. Scientists delved deeper into the mysteries of Earth's core, uncovering insights that revolutionized industries ranging from medicine to renewable energy. Entire ecosystems thought lost to time were rediscovered, thriving in the planet's deepest caverns and oceans. Each revelation brought fresh opportunities for growth and progress, proving that the true treasure lay not in conquering others, but in understanding oneself. Dr. Carter played a pivotal role in guiding humanity's next steps. She became the head of the newly formed Earth Advancement Initiative, EAI, an organization dedicated to advancing science, technology, and education for the betterment of all. Under her leadership, schools introduced programs focused on critical thinking, problem-solving, and teamwork, the same qualities that had enabled humanity to defeat the Xylothians. Space exploration also gained renewed momentum, with missions planned to explore nearby planets and moons. Humanity's gaze turned outward, driven by curiosity and a desire to connect with the wider universe. Yet amidst the excitement, Dr. Carter often found herself reflecting on the lessons learned from the invasion. The battle had shown her, and the world, that humanity's greatest strength lay not in its weapons or technology but in its ability to adapt and persevere. When faced with extinction, people had set aside differences and worked together, proving that the most dangerous species in the universe was defined not by brute force, but by the indomitable will to survive. "Earth is more than just a planet," she said during a speech commemorating the anniversary of the battle. "It's a living, breathing entity, a home worth fighting for, and we are its guardians. Let us honor those who sacrificed everything by building a brighter, kinder, and more united future." Her message resonated far beyond Earth's borders. News of humanity's triumph reached distant corners of the galaxy, inspiring awe and respect among other species. Diplomatic envoys arrived from neighboring star systems, eager to learn from the resilient inhabitants of the blue planet. Trade agreements were established, cultural exchanges flourished, and alliances formed, all rooted in mutual understanding and cooperation. Earth, once overlooked and underestimated, had earned its place among the stars. As the years passed, the scars of the invasion faded, replaced by monuments and memorials honoring those who had given their lives to protect the planet. Parks dedicated to fallen heroes sprang up in cities worldwide, offering spaces for reflection and gratitude. Children grew up hearing stories of bravery and sacrifice, instilling in them a sense of pride and responsibility. Humanity's legacy was no longer one of division and strife but of resilience and unity. And so Earth continued its journey through the cosmos, stronger and wiser than ever before. The Star Destroyers patrolled the skies, their sleek forms a constant reminder of what humanity was capable of achieving. Beneath the surface, the planet's energy fields pulsed steadily, waiting to be tapped whenever needed. Above, the stars twinkled brightly, inviting exploration and discovery. Humanity had stared into the abyss and emerged victorious. They had faced the impossible and won. But perhaps the greatest victory of all was the realization that their strength lay not in dominance over others, but in the bonds they shared with each other and their home. Earth was not just a rock floating in space. It was a sanctuary, a cradle of life, and a testament to the enduring spirit of its people. As the sun set over the horizon, casting golden light across fields and oceans, humanity looked upward with newfound pride. They knew challenges still lay ahead. There would always be uncertainties in the vastness of the universe. But they also knew they had faced the ultimate test and emerged stronger because of it. Together, they had proven that the most dangerous species in existence was not defined by fear or aggression, but by courage, compassion, and an unwavering belief in the power of hope. The story of Earth's awakening was far from over. In fact, it was just beginning.